The fact of the matter is, a Pixel smartphone or Pixel Buds or anything from Google released under the Pixel line gets better over time. These have been out for a few months now, but they've recently received an update that made them so much better. This is TK and this is my review of the Pixel Buds Pro from Google. Let's check them out. Like and subscribe and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified to whenever we have new videos on the channel. So these are the Pixel Buds Pro. I decided to actually go with the color orange here. There's multiple options available. For the most part, it's exactly the same hardware, just more of an accent color that you end up picking out. They're featuring active noise cancellation, of course, since this is one of their biggest features going into the Pro line. A larger battery and, of course, a very similar iconic design that we've seen before. There's a reset button sitting on the back, a USB-C port at the bottom to charge, and of course, they do charge wirelessly. And easy access, open it up, magnetically closing, should have no problem accessing them. Now they do include additional tips here. There's the large and the small, and it's pretty simple. You just remove it here and then of course use the right tips for you. Keep in mind, if you're not using the right ones, you're not going to get that really good noise isolation. And of course, active noise cancellation may not work as well. But otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. You charge them depending on the system. If you can charge them with your Pixel smartphone, reverse wireless charging, directly wired, or even on top of any wireless chargers, it works really nice. There's an indicator light at the front here, letting us know what if the charge level is pretty good or not. And of course, utilizing them is pretty simple. You remove them. There's 2-pin charging connectors there, 2 pins on the actual bud, and of course, just very simple, easy to use. We have a right and left indicator on each bud, a touch-sensitive area here to not only be able to control start and stop, but also to be able to control volume control. That's one of their really nice iconic designs that they carried over from a couple of years ago with their first generation buds. As I mentioned to you guys, the magnets are very strong. Closing it up, very, very strong. It does not open. And it fits very nicely inside of your jeans small pocket in the right pocket, and it definitely makes them very nice and very easy to carry. Now, as far as controlling them, if you're using them on an Android device that's a Pixel, so this is the Pixel 7 Pro, or you're using them on a non-Pixel, so this would be the Xperia 1 Mark IV, it's pretty straightforward. On the 1 Mark IV, since it's not a Pixel, you just need to download the Buds app. It's basically very simple, directly off the Google Play Store. On a Pixel smartphone, you'll notice first and foremost that it actually has a little bit of additional features available in there. One of them obviously being the ability of seeing it directly in the notification panel. Clicking it gets you access directly into it, or conversely, if you just jump in directly into the Bluetooth tab, you'll notice Pixel Buds Pro are in there, and of course, click them. That gets you straight into the system. Very simple, very easy. Just a little bit more information available on smartphones that are Pixels because it's built in or actually integrated into the operating system. But the configuration is pretty straightforward. You'll notice first and foremost, it is showing us that it's the actual buds themselves. If I open them up and put the buds on the table, because we have dual connect, and that's one thing that we have now available on both, you'll notice that it actually showed up on both of them, not on one, because it actually is connected simultaneously to both. And whichever device starts the audio will take over the audio reception on the buds themselves. You can see here the battery levels on each right and left earbud. They're 100%, they were in the case. We of course have the ability of seeing the case in there. We have the ability of disconnecting, forgetting, and of course jumping straight into basically active noise cancellation and configuration. You can jump in between the different options, but you do need to put them on. And once you have them on, you're able to basically switch between one and the other by single tapping. And of course, I'll show you guys the configuration. But otherwise, Google Assistant configuration, reading out your comments, comes out, find my device, touch control, pretty straightforward. And again, runs exactly the same. If you configure it on one, it'll transfer to the other because they're actually stored directly on the buds. So swipe forward, swipe back takes you volume up, volume down. Single tap is pause, play, answer calls. Double tap makes you basically next track or reject the call. And triple tap basically goes to previous track. Touch and hold is customized. There's 2 different options in there. Right now, the way I have it, on the right ear, if I touch and hold, I turn on the assistant. So I'm able to press and hold and talk directly to it. Or I can basically use the left ear tip to switch between active noise cancellation or stick into the same system. So here, if I touch and hold on my left, touch and hold again on my left. And of course, one of the biggest updates that we saw in here that we didn't have before, and I know recently a lot of videos did come out where we didn't have a built-in EQ, but under sound now we have the ability of customizing our EQ. And of course, not only that, creating even our own custom edition of EQ. Also have the voice balance or the volume balance between the right and left ear. And one of the options when you go into the settings, you can go and say custom here, and then you can set your own EQ, as well as having the ability of adding the volume EQ, which improves audio a little bit in the low levels. But overall, it's pretty nice to see more additional functions added into the EQ section. Again, transfers on Pixels and non-Pixel devices as well. And I want to show it to you guys here in case you're buying these or you're thinking about them, but you don't own a Pixel. This is definitely going to be how it looks. There's an ear tip fit check, so you can start this and make sure that you have a really good fit. You have the ability of customizing or turning on the in-ear detection, firmware update for software update, and make sure you do that. There was an update that was pushed out in October. Under about, obviously, earbud status, serial numbers, and so on, tips and support. And this is where you'll be able to manage your email notifications if you'd like to have them on or off. Sending feedback, safety, and warranty, and that's pretty much it. Overall, if the experience is very straight, you need to turn on audio switch, or basically audio switch and multi-point turn on to be able to have that experience switch between one and the other. The one thing I will say, it does support SBC and AAC, and of course you do need to turn on the AAC toggle here. Overall on the Xperia 1 Mark IV, I didn't actually have to turn that on. By default, it goes directly AAC, as that's the best experience that it has. But you are able to customize it to receive calls if you want to receive calls, and media audio in here automatically. Which is really functional. Keep in mind that, again, I have them connected to 2 different devices at the same time, and it will work with the last 2 devices yet paired. So just keep that in mind. And the simple way of doing this is once you pair it with one system and you're done and you configure it the way you want, you open up the case, you put the buds back inside, and press and hold the reset button on the back, that little button in here, that gives you the ability of putting them back on into pairing mode. And now you're able to connect them to 2 devices and, of course, get the same functionality. Again, one thing to keep in mind is switching between the 2 is very seamless. Again, whatever is providing audio will take over. So if I start the music here and then start it over here, switches over here, and then it goes back off to the other side. And the beauty about it is that the audio is going to play back exactly the way you have it intended, and you will get a notification on the top of your phone. Now, although the buds themselves, when we're looking at them close up, look like they're a little bit bigger, when you put them on, they're actually not bad. You just basically insert, make sure that it twists and it sits in the bottom part of your ear. You get a little bit of a chime when you put them in, telling you that it's turning on, and it is automatically set up to be on active noise cancellation for me. The touch sensitivity and the touch controls work exactly the way you'd expect them. I, again, went with the orange color. You can go with whichever color you like. I don't know if they're interchangeable, meaning that they can change the plates, but I do know that my system recognizes them as the orange ones. So therefore, I'm thinking they're coded in there, letting them know that this is the color of the buds that you're using. The fit's very nice. They're comfortable. They're not heavy. They don't feel like they're going to fall out of my ears, but they also don't feel like they're very snug in my ears, even though I'm using the larger tips. So I will say again, first and foremost, make sure you use the right tips that come in the box. If you're not using the right ones, it's not going to feel right, and you're not going to get that noise isolation or cancellation that you wanted. Namely, what I was actually going through and explaining to you guys the little audio playback from one device to the other, there was actually background noise in the office that I didn't even hear. So you may have heard that as a little bit in the background. I couldn't hear that because the active noise cancellation was turned on, and as if, again, that's what's doing its job. But one of the main benefits, again, is the ability of listening to music, also controlling audio, but also getting really good access to the assistant. And I think that's one of the biggest features, getting in and picking up a pair of buds that are made by Google directly. Again, they're called the Pixel Buds Pro. So obviously Google is at its core the main functionality that we get in here, on top of the fact that we have amazing audio. Starting off with one tap. One tap again, stops the music. So start up, double tap, starts up again. Very simple. So if I press and hold, what's the weather like today? And it does the response directly in my ears. It doesn't launch the assistant on the smartphone. It automatically accesses the service and gives me the audio directly in my ears. And again, if I do the same thing, touch and hold on the left ear tip, it's going to switch between active noise cancellation and transparency mode, since I selected those 2 modes to go in. I don't typically like to have either in the neutral, either on or off. Obviously, transparency augments the audio, so you get to hear a little bit better. Press and holding it just switches it over. Very easy. And the main thing I wanted to show you guys is on the device, real quick, is the volume up. Very nice, very simple. Touch sensitivity is very good and always accurate because it's a large area. It's very hard to miss. The swiping function will probably require you to put a finger on the side and then swipe over. Otherwise, you're just doing this. Over time, as you practice with it, it's going to work really nice. Let's go ahead and give you guys a quick sample of the audio from these microphones, utilizing obviously the built-in recording capabilities that we have on the Pixel 7 Pro. Okay, we're outside now. We're using the Pixel 7 Pro, and of course, we're using the front-facing camera at 4K 60 frames per second. Really nice. And we're able to use an external audio because Bluetooth is one of those functionalities, as well as a wired headset. But this would be a good example of it's the audio, basically the audio coming straight from the microphones on the brand new Pixel Buds Pro. Again, make sure that you update the buds to the latest latest edition software as soon as you get them, because that's going to give you the best experience on them. And of course, this is what they sound like. Now, as you heard there, the audio experience is very nice. And I will say that the audio inside, when you're listening to them, is also very comfortable from the sense of the fit. And of course, the functionalities that we get in there are always on point. The touch sensitivities are always working for us exactly the way you want them. Sometimes almost too good, like I've accidentally tapped it on by mistake when I was putting on the earbuds. But then with the experience that you get there over time, you'll get better. You're obviously able to pick up whichever color fits you or works for you best. And what I like about them and the way they integrate with the Pixel is the basic integration that we get directly within the Bluetooth settings. Everything is controlled within there. You don't need to download a separate application. It's easy to set up, easy to customize, and there's a few little extra features that are available only on Pixel. But again, you can download the application directly from the Google Play Store and use it with your device. The audio codec that we get in here, again, by default is set to be SBC. Turning on the HD option takes you over to AAC, and that's going to be the best experience that you're able to get here. There is no aptX, there's no LDAC or anything like that. I would have loved to see other codecs, but there's also kind of a limitation what we're able to do on our devices. And of course, the overall experience is very nice. The customizable EQ definitely does help augment the experience, since Pixels don't typically have a built-in EQ. So we don't get Dolby, we don't get some of those other options built in. This is definitely very nice. I will say though that the magnet on the back of the case is not as strong as some of the earlier generations of the Bud series. We've seen them where you were able to basically magnetically put them on something and metal, it'll stick to it. But it works really nice, and I love the fact that I'm able to charge it directly from my smartphone if I forget to bring a cable. Although if you have a cable to charge your smartphone, you have a cable to charge these buds, and they do charge up pretty fast. And again, larger battery, longer playtime. And keep in mind, obviously the playtime will vary depending on if you have it with active noise cancellation, and of course how loud the volume that you get in there. The range is also very nice. I was able to leave my office, my phone, and in the office here and walk all around to the other side of my house, and it works absolutely fantastic. That's one of the biggest things that we get in here. Great audio, much better connectivity. There is no connectivity issue like we saw with the first generation, and I think they fixed it ever since the A series that they pushed out last year. So that's one of the other reasons there. So for me, this is literally the best match that you can get. If you have a Pixel smartphone, this is obviously going to be the best buds that you can pick up for them. They are available in different options as far as the colors, but again, they'll work with any smartphone that you want to use. And if you love having the Google integration, the ability of actually activating the assistant, I'm not going to say it, you're able to use it here, and of course get notifications, updates directly on the messages. All those things come out very nicely, and again, it's just going to keep getting better. And literally, the only way I can say it, it keeps getting better. Thank you very much for the support. Like and subscribe as usual, and of course, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one.